Now this is an all-new 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe. Let's get the pricing out of the way right now. It'll just be easier that way. Two-wheel drive base price for the Tahoe in Canada is $56,498. If you want all-wheel drive, it's $57,798. In the US, $50,295 for the base two-wheel drive Tahoe, $53,295 for all-wheel drive. Top line model is the High Country with options easy $90,000 in Canada, easy $80,000 in the US. That's out of the way. Now let's talk important stuff. This truck is a very, very important product for General Motors, and believe me, they did not cut any corners. They delivered on almost every conceivable point. It's only been a few hours, a few hundred kilometers, but I've essentially fallen for this truck. Let's talk about styling right now. GM really went ahead and gave it, actually, that's what this truck is. It's an evolution and a revolution. Most of what you see is, and what you feel is an evolution, which is an excellent thing. And what needed to be fixed on the previous truck was revolutionized. How about that? Okay, so styling. GM definitely made it evolve in the absolute proper direction. As you can see, this is a Z71, which, by the way, starts at about $70K with options. My truck is just shy of $80,000. I think it's well worth it. I mean, so far I'm in love. I'm absolutely in love. It's difficult not to love GM's full-size trucks. They are the best sellers, GMC and Cadillac and Chevrolet in North America. So yeah, styling, I love the line across the top of the belt there. It's a beautiful, kind of elegant yet muscular little bit. There are Easter eggs everywhere. Chevrolet right here, and then you get the bow tie on this side. Love the blacked out stuff with the Z71 package. Love how that badging in the center like that. Very classy. Numero uno. Very clean overall style. And now the Z71 package gives you these, is it me? Or kind of Pontiac vibe-ish, old school wheels. They are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Very cool running board. I don't like them usually, but this one is kind of neat with the tire tracks in it. That looks great. I mean, that looks good. Just and here's the real kicker thing. This front grille. Let me walk back front. I personally can't stand it. On the Silverado, I think GM went completely off the rocker, took way too many whatevers, and they totally ruined it. And yet, maybe it's me now that I'm on stuff on the juice. I don't know. I love the way it fits on a truck. I think it has to do with there's more profiles, more textures in the grille, like the pointy nose. The headlights wrap around further into the fenders. There are some rounder shapes, yet still very flat. The bumper kind of protrudes a little bit. The grille is a little bit deeper. There's more character to what you'll find on a Silverado, which is just like very flat, very just mundane and boring. Or maybe it's just the Z71 combination, but it works. It just so absolutely works. Red toe hooks, always a nice touch. So overall, what's important to know is that the truck has grown in size, obviously, just over 6.6 inches longer, of which 5 inches is now in the wheelbase, which translates into, obviously, more interior space, which is what you want. This is part of that revolutionary part. And the Suburban is 15 inches longer. Most of it is in between the two wheels. Now, while on the topic of the revolution, it's a handsome truck. Jeez, is it ever handsome? It's always been handsome, but it's never been this good. All right, so if you're familiar with these trucks, you know that in the previous generations, the third row sits on top, right here, of the trunk space, if you will, and gobs up an enormous amount of volume. Now, yes, sir, now 60%, 66, I think actually, 66% more trunk space behind the third row. And if you lower the third row, it's actually up for a reason because I want to show you something else. You get about 20% more trunk space with the third row folded flat. Overall, that works out to about just shy of 40% more luggage room. All right, so the longer wheelbase, longer overall. Look at that. Okay, these seats, accommodating, very comfortable, plenty of leg room. My son's seat, it's almost comical how much room there is between the seat back and my driving position and where his seat is positioned. These seats actually recline, obviously slide fore and aft. Now here's what I was testing here. That's my daughter's seat, which actually happens to fit back there with a lot of ease. Now, obviously, she won't be able to see anything, so it's not a great idea. But I'm going back there, and with relative ease as well, I just slide right in. I got fairly generous knee space, right? I could actually slide this seat forward a little bit more, get more room. But the real kicker, I've got a lot of headroom. If you're 6 feet tall and you move this seat forward a little bit, you can actually sit in the third row. Not that many SUVs can claim that there is enough space for a normal-sized human adult in the third row. Now let's walk around a little bit before I get to the front. GM's gonna sell a ton of these, and when I tell you about the drive too, that's more evolutionary, but still, I mean, it was a great drive. I'm gonna shut up. Fit and finish is very nice. Combination of colors, the materials are lovely. I mean, it's believable, right? How about this, okay? I think it's better than a lot of recent Ford products that I've driven in the not too distant past. Comfortable seat, multi-adjustable. I gotta show you this. Okay. Actually, first of all, okay, so you get an 8-inch display here, which is not available in all trims. However, this 10-inch display is available in all trims standard. This is part of the evolutionary as well. I mean, this is great. This is new. I kind of like push buttons. Thank you. No rotary wheel. This is definitely evolutionary. It looks very much like everything we've seen. While I'm here, visibility is okay. You can kind of see the mirrors are quite big, so it's a combination of good and bad. The base of the A-pillar is quite large. But what I want to show you is, okay, so storage is fantastic, but storage is even better than you think. There's a cool little bin here, which actually locks. If you gotta press the button, it opens up. I don't know exactly what you could put in there, but I'm sure we can all find something to put in there. All right, so here's your center armrest, which opens up to generous storage. Now check this out. Okay, so there's a button up here. I know it's gimmicky, but hold on, I'm not done yet. So that reveals huge storage space. I mean, if you like takeout, you can actually use this as like a dining area or storage for your food. Not done, right? You can actually slide this forward, so you're all set. Your elbow's still covered, but let's just say you put that back. There is hidden storage in there. Oh, that's fantastic. And what it also does is it brings these cup holders closer to your rear passengers, which is a lovely touch as well. And you can drive with that in place. It really does not hamper anything whatsoever. So this truck, this tester, has wireless charger, as you can see right there. It's wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, fully equipped, or just about. Is that even a term anymore? It's got the height adjustable suspension here, so you just have to press that button, and there you go. You can actually toggle through, oops, that's the drive modes. Well, there you go, drive modes, you can do that. That's why I have to press the button first, and then the menu shows up, and then you rotate to the heights. Anyhow, that's also standard with this truck. What else can I tell you? I'm excited. I'm enjoying this truck quite a bit, and I believe, as the French say, without further ado, actually, let's just go for a drive. So in my ongoing expose on the new 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe, also part of the evolutionary process that this truck underwent, has to do with the powertrain. Now, back into service for 2021 is the 5.3 liter V8, which remains quite possibly the best, most well-rounded V8 engine you can get in these full-size SUVs. My goodness, I look tiny on screen. 355 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. It's got all the power, makes all the lovely sounds, and not today, unfortunately, but is generally known for being quite economical. The beauty is, without a doubt, the 10-speed automatic transmission that is standard with both in fact, all three engines that will be offered in the 2021 Tahoe, which is the 5.3, the 6.2, and the upcoming Duramax 3-liter V6 diesel. This, not the sound, but just the way this transmission shifts, it's seamless. It's like butter melting in a hot pan. It just glides from one gear to another. And one of the things I think I like the most is the fact that just minimal, a tiny wee bit of throttle when you're just coasting on the highway, for example, is enough to get the transmission to drop 2 gears just like that, and then suddenly you start moving a little bit more. It's absolutely fantastic. It's beautifully set up for this V8. I mean, I love 8-speed automatic transmissions, but this 10-speed is might make me a convert. Now, about the chassis. So the suspension now on the 2021, all the GM full-size trucks all include air ride suspension as standard. So that means you got the different levels, which I believe total travels about 4 inches from, so 2 up, 2 down. But the real kicker, which is available on my tester at the moment, is the magnetic ride. So these magnetic dampers, which surprisingly keep this SUV relatively flat as you're taking your favorite on or off ramp. Otherwise, I mean, the brakes, massive vented discs all around, good pedal feel. Steering is actually fairly heavy, and I don't want to say it's responsive. There's no on-center play to speak of, which is surprising. Not because of the steering rack's tune, but with the big knobby tires, the big Goodyear Wranglers. So ride quality with all of that is surprisingly good. And that's the difference. If you've driven, say, 15, 16, 17 to 2020, wow, Tahoe, Suburban, or Yukon XL, the ride quality is very good. Refinement is high. But there's very little depth to it. No matter the wheels like that, even with the 18s or the 20s or the 22s, the ride kind of gets upset when the surface isn't almost perfectly smooth. In this truck, however, you have just that little bit extra give. The very beginning of the wheel's travel. And it makes all the difference. You do kind of glide nicely, but not floatingly, through some dips, unless the road surface is complete crap, which happens a lot in Quebec. The ride quality is definitely a notch, if not 2, above the previous generation truck. As always, it remains relatively quiet in here, even at speeds far, just slightly above the posted speed limits. This truck is fantastic. GM could not screw this one up, and they absolutely have not. And it reminds me of the Silverado and the Sierra, where in a sense everything you don't see was heavily worked on to make sure that it was class leading in a sense. Geez, I am really small. Give you a sense of how big this is. It's not even at the end of the pillar, end of the windshield. But, you know, again, with the interior, I mean, there's some highs and some semi-low-ishes. But overall, I mean, if you were a fan of the GM trucks, I mean, this one is Might not be the handsomest of them all, but is definitely the best overall to drive.